morning and welcome back to Questioning Sense with me, Matt. I hope you guys are well. All is fine here. Right, that's the standard greeting out of the way. Okay, so today we're going to talk about a subscription service from a company called HooHaa. Now, they approached me a little while ago. We had a chat and they said, okay, can we send you this month's sort of offerings? And I said, yeah, no, that sounds like a great idea. I've seen them on Instagram, but I didn't really know too much about them. They sent the perfumes, which was wonderful, and then I did some research into the company, and they offer a really, really good idea. It is a really, really good idea that they're offering. Now, HooHaa have realised that obviously, the world of perfume is there's just so much out there. There really, really is, and especially when it comes to niche perfumery, where there are so many brands. And if like me, you live in London, which is fantastic. We're a real hive of perfume outlets and retailers. We've got places like Javoy, there's Bloom, there's Fortnum & Mason, Selfridges, Harrods, lots and lots of places where you can go and really, experiment and try and get to know sort of various fragrances. But if, like my long-suffering partner in Questioning Sense, Richard, you live in the wastelands of the north, where he lives, there's absolutely, it's really, really hard to get to try some of these kind of more difficult to find brands that aren't carried in sort of, the big department stores and that kind of thing. So HooHaa, or Drop the HooHaa as I know them, I think the actual business is called HooHaa. The website is HooHaa, so give them a look. They offer a really good idea. I think it costs £14.95 a month, and for that you get a 10ml decant of a niche perfume. Now, this is a really good idea to me. If, like Rich, who lives out there in the wastelands, for him to try perfumes, it would normally involve either a blind buy, which is risky, especially with expensive perfumes, or he listens to me talk rubbish about perfumes and then tries to decipher if my enthusiasm is spot on, and then he'll make an educated blind buy. Or you buy a sample from somewhere, which is normally 2 mils. Now, a 2 ml sample is a good thing. If you spray a 2 ml sample on your hand, you'll know instantly if you like the perfume or not. The problem with 2 ml samples is you don't really get to live with the perfume or experience it. So sometimes, a sample can be a little bit misleading, but with 10 mils, you know exactly where you're going with it. If you don't know at the end of a 10 ml decant if you like the perfume or not, or, you haven't made your mind up after 10 mils, then frankly, you're doing perfume wrong. So 10 mils is perfect. And obviously, as it's a monthly subscription, you're not if you've got a fair size collection, you're not going to burn through that 10 mils in a month. You're going to be wearing your regular perfumes as well. And you will soon build up a little library of perfumes, which is fantastic. So how it works is they offer 3 options. The first one they call Easy Does It. So these are edits. They have someone come in who curates these sort of wonderful perfumes for you to explore, and they give you the option of 3. So you have Easy Does It, which is kind of like the more, not mainstream, but these are sort of very easy wearing perfumes and, interesting, niche, but probably safe, I think would be the best way to put it. And then you have Buckle Up, which is a little bit more challenging. Those that want to, a little bit more out there, a little bit more interesting, a little bit more kind of maybe challenging a little bit. And then they have the Take Me to Mars, which is for those that really like to push the boundaries, for those that really want a challenging fragrance. So I'm very, very lucky that they sent me all 3. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a little overview of each of them, and then we'll talk about in much more detail the one that really jumped out at me. But I've got to say at this stage, I was so impressed with all 3 perfumes. Really, really interesting stuff, and something that I gained a lot of pleasure out of sampling, basically. So if we start with the first one. Now, the first one, which is from the Easy Does It segment, is called Temptation. And this is from 4160 Tuesdays, the brand Sarah McCartney's brand. Now, I love Sarah to death. I think she's an amazing person and she's a fantastic perfumer. And what I love is Sarah spends so much time with the community. She's always educating people on how to make perfume, and letting you know what goes on behind the scenes and how perfumes are made, basically, how they're developed, and the whole shooting match. So Temptation was one that I was very eager to try, and this is a lovely, sweet, woodsy vanilla fragrance with tons and tons of musk. It's a little bit sweet for me, but I really, really enjoyed it. My wife loves this one, so she's going to basically have this to wear. So Temptation is basically musk, and then musk, and then we have some white wood, some more musk, and some vanilla. And it's this sort of soft, fluffy, gourmand vanilla fragrance that just floats around you. It's really rather beautiful, but it is a little bit too gourmandish for me. But as I say, my wife really, really enjoyed this one. If you like sort of vanilla-centric perfumes, you're going to love this one. It's beautifully done as well. It's a very, very long-lasting perfume. It's one I think will be really good for layering if you have a perfume that you want to, you know, put something on top of. Something that you own that you would like to sort of sweeten up a bit or have a nice musky vanilla base to it. This would be perfect for that. So I was impressed with this one, but this one actually wasn't for me. And now what we'll do is we'll jump straight to the Take Me to Mars section, which is the out there one, the boundary pushing perfume of the three. So the Take Me to Mars is Spiked EDP from Chronotope. Now this is exactly what it says it is. It's Take Me to Mars. This is a quite out there perfume. There's lots of really challenging notes. The perfumer behind it is Carter Weeks Maddox, who's an American guy that's really, really passionate about creating sort of modern, outlandish perfumes. And this, I mean, I'm maybe being a bit disrespectful there with outlandish. This is very, very wearable for certain people. But for me, unfortunately, there's a very, very prominent violet leaf within the perfume, which just doesn't actually work well on my skin. So violet and violet leaf, sometimes, I mean, violet in general is not a note that I really, really enjoy. And violet leaf sometimes works. I have some perfumes with violet leaf in that kind of, it suits me. But the violet leaf in this one's a little bit too strong for me. But it's a clever perfume. It's really, really interesting. One that if you like sort of more challenging perfumes, then this is up there for you to try. It's not. If it wasn't for the violet leaf, I don't think I'd find this too challenging. There's some rose in here, then you've got orris, you've got sandalwood, you've got some sweetness here as well. It's a really interesting, kind of like an amber style perfume, but because of the prominence of the violet leaf, this isn't actually going to be one for me, but I think you will like it if you like violet. Okay, and then we're going to go back to the Buckle Up, which was my favourite of the three and one that I've become infatuated with. And here it is, Infatuated, and this is by a British company called, a British-American company called Contradictions in Ilk. Now, they've had quite a lot of presence in social media, but I haven't really experienced many of their, or if any, I think. I think someone sent me some samples of a couple, but I don't know what's happened to the samples, which doesn't surprise me because I have a seething mass of samples. But this has absolutely blown me away. And it's really weird because when I look at this perfume on paper, it's not one that I think I would like. There's lots of sort of really interesting materials used in it. The note listing's kind of about as out there as it gets. But my gosh, this absolutely works beautifully. So what we'll do is I'm going to have a little tiny spray of it now. I'm not wearing it at the moment, but we'll have a little spray in my hand just so we can get the opening. And we'll look at the notes and bear in mind that there are so many notes in this. It's absolutely crazy, but what a glorious perfume. So I'm going to make a quick apology to Rich because obviously I'm going to read the notes out and he's going to have the job of typing them up on the screen. So if we go through the notes, you'll understand exactly what I'm on about. So at the top you have pepper, you have apple blossom, you have pear, you have custard. In the middle you have juniper, you have saffron, you have cedarwood, and then you have a rubber accord. And then in the base, you have dry amber, you have frankincense, you have sandalwood, you have vanilla, you have musk, you have oud, and you have tonka bean. So this is a real cacophony of materials. There's a real plethora of notes being used here. So what do you actually get? Well, you get something that's utterly bonkers. The overall composition is kind of sweet, it's kind of warm, it's a little bit spicy, there's a little bit of a herbal undertow to it. I described this on Instagram and I can't think of a better way to do it. It's like someone's made a beautiful fruity apple pie with some pear in custard and then encased it in latex, which sounds absolutely insane, but on your skin, this is gorgeous. Especially there's this musk that kind of lifts everything up, so it doesn't sit close to your skin at all. It's actually quite an airy perfume. It's quite potent and it just seems to swirl around you when you wear it. It's absolutely beautiful. And what I like is I'm not a massive fan of gourmands, but because there's so many other materials in here, like the rubber and the oud, it just tempers the sweetness. So you've got layers to the perfume. As you wear it, it develops, and you'll pick up, you know, in the opening, you'll pick up very much on the gourmandesque style of the perfume. But it becomes quite herbal. The saffron gives it a lovely sweetness that just carries things out. But again, there's a rubber accord in here that dulls the sweetness down. So there's a balance, and it just, oh, I don't know, it works so, so well. The frankincense isn't that prominent to me. You kind of get a little bit of an exotic feel to it, but I wouldn't say, oh yeah, look, there's frankincense in there. It doesn't scream out at me like that, but it does work really, really well. I think the frankincense and the oud bring that kind of sort of, I don't know, more mysterious vibe to the dry down, where the sandalwood suddenly starts to push through. And as you're wearing it, you know, when you're walking about, you're aware of the perfume all the time. But as it dries down, suddenly it kind of ups a gear, if you like. You almost become more aware of the sandalwood in the dry down with this muskiness that just, oh, it's beautiful. It really is rather just so, so adorable. It's a perfume that I think I'm actually going to need a full bottle of. Now, I'm not entirely sure how much the 50 mils are from Contradictions in Ilk, but I'm going to Javoy soon, and they actually hold all of the perfumes there. So I will, you know, try the lot, because I'm really, really now intrigued by the brand, and you know, I want to try and find the samples I've got, but really, really go through them all, because this is some really, really clever perfumery, and I'm absolutely enjoying it. So I think of the three, you know, you have the Easy Does It, which was Temptation, you have the Buckle Up, which was Infatuated, and then you have the Take Me to Mars, which was Spite EDP. These are really exciting perfumes for you to try, and I thoroughly, thoroughly recommend them. Now, obviously, I did get the perfume sent to me for nothing. I'm not being paid for this video, neither's Rich, but I thought I'd like to put it out there, because I know a lot of you that follow the channel are building collections. And this is a great way of avoiding having hundreds and hundreds of bottles that you're never going to wear. 10 ml is perfect. I think the presentation on these is absolutely beautiful, and they come in these little boxes, and they're not just a box that it rattles around in. There's a little holder in there so the perfume fits in quite snugly. And basically you pay your $14.95, and then every month you get 10 mils, and you get to choose which one you want. So if you fancy the Easy Does It, the Buckle Up, or the Take Me to Mars, that's down to you. So well worth investigating it. Obviously subscription services aren't going to be for everyone, especially, you know, if you're kind of very sort of organized and know exactly what you want to buy, then maybe it's not going to be for you. But if you just want to taste and sample what's out there, then it's a really, really good way of doing so. So I'm a bit of a fan, as you may have gathered. So there you go. That's a brief introduction to HooHaa, the subscription service, and a look at three fragrances. For me, though, the one that I'm really, really obsessed with is Infatuated by Contradictions in Ilk. Now, I think it's Ilk. It might just be Contradictions ILK, so I'm not entirely sure. But, you know, unlike me to get something wrong in it. Anyway, listen, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Take care. Have fun, and we will see you soon on the next video. So cheers, thanks, and bye.